Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben, what's on the bar today?
We have got BAM Maker's 46 cask strength. So this one...
Well, first of all, it's the wrong shape, and it's the wrong color. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this is the new bottling of Maker's 46 cask strength. To be honest, I like the old bottle better. But we've both had this before, but it's been quite a long time.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
And we've never reviewed it.
Okay.
This is starting to show up much more commonly in Minnesota than it has previously.
I've not seen it, but I'm not out in stores that much.
Runs about $65. I picked this one up on sale for $40, so you just can't pass that
At
up.
a big box store or something?
Yep, Costco. 110.3 proof. If you're not familiar with Maker's 46, before we get into it, it's a stave profile. They take 10 Maker's 46 staves, which are French oak, and they place them into the barrel with the cask strength Maker's mark.
It's really good and has a good, strong kind of, wood forward, tannic kind of spice
to it. Adds a little spice to the sweetness of the regular Maker's mark and the regular 46.
What? Is it maybe 90 proof? The regular 46? It's something like
94.
That. Oh, okay, that's right, 94. So at 110.3, this is should be pretty amazing.
A treat. It's got a great nose to it. This one is interestingly kind of leaning a little bit. Maker's Mark has a very, very noticeable flavor profile. It's kind of unique.
Sure.
They're typically easy to pick out of a lineup.
Not that easy, but
it's different. They're definitely, it's a noticeable profile. And this one is kind of leaning a little bit away from that and getting some more of those standard bourbon notes. And
what I find interesting is I'm actually not getting a lot off of it. Like it's
really?
There's some smells, but they're real subtle, and it's hard to get anything. There's a bit of sweetness and stuff, but maybe it's me. Maybe it's just the day. I've not had anything to drink in like a week, so.
You know, the more I'm getting into the nose, I'm starting to pick up some more of those standard Maker's Mark notes. Now that's starting to come out. Yeah, Maker's Mark does have that bready. It's got a little cherry on top of it. Yeah. Well, let's get into the palate, see what happens. Cheers.
Well, that's like 12 kinds of amazing.
I think it's great. Oakier than I remember.
Yep.
Now, these are obviously batched because they release them at,
Sure.
All the batches are going to be a little bit different, but I'm assuming they're large batches. So, compared to the one we had a couple years ago, there's probably some subtle nuance. But
it's funny you should think of it that way, though. This is all whiskey, all bourbons. They're the main ingredient, or at least one of the main ingredients, is the oak. And trees are different. And
that's true. I wonder, so the French oak is going to taste different.
Vary just a little bit, different grove, different hillside, whatever, where the trees came from.
I'm getting notes of cheese and wine and baguettes.
Really?
Off of the French
that
oak.
has got to be my favorite dinner ever, by the way. Wow. So typically on Maker's Mark, we get like a toasted almond kind of note, and that's definitely present.
Yeah.
There is this little strange, it's kind of on the finish, a little hint of like ethanol that doesn't have like a sweetness to offset it. So there's a little kick of just a weird ethanol.
There's a bite.
Yeah.
And wheaters are typically known for having a kind of a softer profile, a little sweeter profile, but they're not without their spice. Maker's Mark is not without its spice.
Correct.
On the regular Maker's cask strength, I always notice a really nice tobacco note, which is interesting to come off of, a wheater, and it's kind of definitely different than the other Maker's products. I'm getting a little bit of that here. I think, kind of like the cherry we talked about
Sure.
is almost like a pipe tobacco-y. There are some similarities there. I think this is great. You and I are admitted Maker's Mark fanboys. Anything beyond, we like the regular one, it's just fine.
Sure. Yep.
But all of their, private
Their higher proof
selects
stuff.
and their, limited releases and stuff like that, we've just been a fan of every single one
Absolutely.
of them. And what I was saying at the beginning is how Maker's Mark has a unique flavor profile. If somebody asked me, said, recommend a bourbon if you want me to know what bourbon tastes like, I would not recommend a Maker's Mark product.
That's fair because it is a tad unique.
That's kind of what I meant by that. Like, it's not a down the middle, like, this is bourbon.
Right. It's Maker's
Bourbon,
Mark
but
bourbon.
it's definitely has
And
its
it's
own
great,
signature.
But yeah, they do have a style all their own.
That's what we love about it.
Sure.
And so when you get these cask strength expressions of, the regular one and the 46, it just takes what we tend to both think are already good products and turns them up to 11.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's become predictable at this point.
If you would have gone with the 46, that would have been funnier.
Turns it up to 46. This one is turned up to 46.
Yeah. I think it's great.
I do too.
Really good balance of flavors. It's got the traditional vanilla and caramel and stuff like that. But the almond and the toasted, kind of almost like bread crust, and then the cherry in there a little bit.
And it all has a really nice spice
It works
on
well.
it.
It's got a nice density.
I think that kind of cherry flavor, cherry-ish flavor with that kind of spice is what reminds me of kind of a pipe tobacco-ish
Yeah, I think so.
sort of vibe. And then it's got the oak kick, and it's got a nice ethanol burn that I think is just the right volume for this.
And the finish is improving. That first or second taste had a little bit of a weird finish, but that was just one sip. So
Yeah. Well, if you can't tell, we're fans of this one. So even at the $65, I wish it was a little cheaper than that.
Sure.
But I would pick one up. I was planning on picking one up before I found this one on sale. So yeah, I think it's a recommend for me for sure.
yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, well, this has been Maker's 46 cask strength on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Till next time. See you next time.